But on the outside, who's he played with for any significant amount of time to get that?
Right.
Just like I look over and this is back shoulder.
Right.
Like who's the guy that he's got that rapport with?
There's no Randall Cobb or Jordy Nelson or any of the half a dozen. I mean, they had first-round guys, but he had guys he played with a long time in Green Bay.
Sam McDowell quoted the stat that Patrick Mahomes has thrown the least contested passes of anybody in football. I mean, he's only thrown it like 7 times this year into a contested window. It's not what he does.
Right. It isn't what he does.
And part of it's because Andy Reid usually gets him somebody open, or his legs get him somebody open, and he doesn't have to.
But he would rather look at that and say nope and create more time for himself until somebody gets open than.
Well, we've seen him. He had one throw last year. I don't even remember who ended up catching it, where it was like, it's like he was in front of this guy, just over this guy, just behind. I mean, it was one of those where you're like, I don't even know how he could see him.
Which makes you think.
It was to Kelsey. I remember it was to Kelsey, and I don't remember what game it was at home.
But it's such an aberration that you remember it.
Yes. But I mean, I'm
it
saying
almost indicates that I think he has the ability to do it.
Yeah, he has the ability to do it, but I think if you don't have to, I don't think it's a good practice to just throw jump balls.
No, not as a staple of what you do, but it's a nice thing to have when you go back and you're like, he almost rather dirt the ball than throw one like that.
I think it'll be important, too, to see how one of the things I'm eager to see is how they're going to divvy up the carries, especially with Kareem Hunt being on the injury list with a shoulder.
Well, right. And I think that this game, whether Kareem Hunt had a little shoulder ding or whatever, would have been a very interesting game for Kareem Hunt, because you come back and you're trying to prove yourself again and you're first on the team, maybe you got a little extra juice. Does he really? Is that the real him? Was the sports hernia the real thing, or is he just kind of washed, but he came out blazing for one shining moment?
Over 15 miles per hour, only 4 times all of last year. He did it twice in the first game.
Mm-hmm. Right. He looked good.
So who you got?
Oh, I get the Chiefs, and I'm going to be dumb again. I'm going to say that this one maybe is one that they get a little separation, but I'm not going to go crazy separation, because that's and this is going to be dumb enough. So I'll say Chiefs 26, because they do kick a lot of field goals. I'll say Chiefs 26-17.
Okay, 26-17. I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I think at some point they are going to separate and win comfortably, because I think their defense is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just keep giving it back to them, then at some point they ought to back-ass their way down the field. And, oh, by the way, the defense ought to get some turnovers at some point.
It's not the knack you want, but they've got a knack for keeping the drama alive. So,
yeah. I
mean, they say this a lot in soccer. It was a great game for the neutral. The Chiefs play great. I don't know if now there's many neutral fans watching Chiefs games. I think there's Chiefs fans, and then there's the rest of the nation, and most of those people don't like the Chiefs because they've been winning all the time. They want them to lose. But the Chiefs, for excitement level, for the networks, for beer sales, everything else, the Chiefs are good drama.
Yeah, they are. Do you think that they still can be the best team in the NFL? If they don't
in the regular season this year with their injuries, I think they can be the winningest. Will they look the best doing it? I'll say no. I think other teams might end up playing, winning the same, maybe one less game, but 2/3 of them are easy. Give me the next easy game for the Chiefs, and then I'll start to change my tune. But
yeah,
they like drama.
Yeah, well, they just are not right now able to put people away.
Right.
And that's, which you wonder is that, do they need to have a different style of play? Is it ground and pound? I don't like that idea because I think you need to throw, but I think you can mix in the run a little bit more before to try to help open up the pass.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that I think they've got a interior great offensive line. Tackles obviously still dicey at this point.
Well, now I'll also tell you, as soon as they do that, I'll be like, are they afraid they can't throw? Because it's so out of character for Andy Reid.
Well, the Chiefs don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, just anecdotally thinking about watching every play of every Chiefs game, Chiefs aren't much of a play-action team. I mean, kind of sort of a half of ball fake maybe to a, hard play action isn't really that much part of their repertoire. Of course, Mahomes almost never, does he ever line up under center?
No, and that's one of the things that I would.
I think I might incorporate a little bit of that.
Getting him under center more so he can play action and then roll him out.
Maybe he's not comfortable with it. I'm sure he didn't go under center 5 times at Texas Tech. And some guys maybe aren't comfortable with it. Maybe didn't like it. I don't know.
I think, with your tackle situation, too, that also gives you an opportunity for some quick slants on some 3-step drops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm open to the idea that Andy Reid needs to go back to his old days and run a little more true West Coast offense. Right? I don't think everything has to be this intricate meshing of patterns like some slants. Rashee Rice killed Baltimore on the slants.
Mm-hmm.
Some 10-yard outs, 15-yard outs. Just, I don't think...
6-yard curl to Travis Kelce?
Yeah. I like that better than throwing it to him 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and thinking he's going to dice his way by people.
Or get 3 blocks.
All right, let me ask you this before we go to break. I'm right now of the opinion that the Travis Kelce we have now, the game he had last week, those are going to be like intermittent. Not that was the start of a, Kelce's back. I think he's still good, and he's going to be a contributor no matter what, but I think those are going to pop up every now and then.
I would agree with you 100% if Rashee Rice were healthy. But I think he's going to get volume targets now.
Right.
So I think he's going to
He's going to have numbers just by volume.
Yeah, right up towards the
volume
touchdown.
shooting.
But I think but it's not that he sucks. It's just I think the volume will be there because he'll get open. But I don't think I think the big plays will be fewer and fewer. It'll be more about 7 and 8.
I think this year we've already seen he's had the ball in some space and the guys have tackled him.
He's had, I
mean, one guy has tackled him a few times in those settings, and that usually doesn't happen.
He early in his career, he used to think he could juke people, catch it and go as far upfield as fast as you can. But he's had the go route last week, and he had another big play 2 weeks ago, called back on a penalty. So he still had a couple of big plays, but I think those will be fewer and further between. So I think more in the, 8 for 65 type things. I think more of those are coming. Danny Klinkseal's with us. It's Danny Unleashed, proudly brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, Kansas City's best. Estimates, they're always free. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. If you've got any question about your roof, whether it's your home or your business, it's Easton Roofing. Find them online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. It's been a crazy weather year in Kansas City. You hear lots of ads for taking care of your storm damage. But if you didn't have storm damage, we're still here to help. If somebody talked you into filing a claim that was denied by your insurance, we're also here to help. Oftentimes, repairs are still needed. If you'd like a second opinion, give us a call. The consultation is always free and suggestions are built on integrity. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're listening to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Little Danny Unleashed. Brought to you by Easton Roofing, Kansas City's best. Joe Spiker and his team are absolutely fantastic, whether it's your home or your business. They are happy to help you out with any and all of your roofing needs. Just find them online right now at eastonroofing.com. They partnered with Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's right. You're giving back to Kansas City. Easton Roofing has always been a great proponent of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and now a portion of every job they do goes to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Find Easton Roofing online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, Mizzou at A&M. The line is only 2.5. Why?
Well,
East Coast bias. He's not going to give these Tigers any credit whatsoever.
Seeing as they're playing a team from Texas, I don't know if that really works, but it's
brand recognition.
It's a tough place to play.
Texas
Missouri's
bias.
offense has been okay, not great. I think I'll pick Missouri to win the game, a tough game. They've been great against the run, although they play teams that really kind of wanted to pass more or couldn't threaten down the field. So, you could gang up against the run. We don't know what the A&M quarterback situation is. Their starter's been out for a few games, but the other guy runs well. And they've won. They've won, and they've held the other teams. A&M's defense has been good. So, I think maybe a lower scoring game than you might expect, but I think Missouri's the better team. But that's a tough environment, always, for sure. And they've got a new coach, and I think he's a quality coach who's been working at places that weren't Texas A&M. So I think in a tight one, I'll take the Tigers.
What is the line?
Maybe more
A&M
like
minus 2.5, I think, is the number.
Maybe low 20s type of game.
Okay.
So, but I think the Tigers are kind of due to maybe their big play production has been not so great, which is weird when they have Burden. And I think Brady Cook.
Their number 2 wideout's a second round as a projected second round.
Yeah, and
pick.
he's been great. I think Brady Cook's not been as aggressive running the football as maybe he should be. I think maybe he's trying to protect himself. Who knows? Whatever. He hasn't been that kind of reckless guy who was trying to prove himself. And he's a good runner. He's a really good runner. He's a physical runner. So
if they come out and lay a can of whoop ass on A&M, I think we're going to say this is where Mizzou's season began. They knew this is where it began. They knew they were going to go 4-0. They sleptwalked through it. Almost got stung. Right? Got down to BC, then roared by them. But ended up in a rock fight with Vanderbilt.
They just didn't show.
But if they would lose this to A&M, we're going to be like, nah, they were a little bit overrated.
Yeah. If he's a scatter shot tomorrow as he was the last time we saw him,
he being Brady Cook, then they might be in trouble.
The thing is, A&M should be better. They just their track record over the past 15 years.
I don't know. Year one,
not this year.
Oh, yes,
I mean, as a program, they have so many. They get so much talent,
gobs of money.
Yeah, they got all the money. They got a 102,000 seat stadium. It's packed. They got crazy fake military guys up there yelling. And so they got a lot of advantages. They should be better, and I think Mike Elko might unleash that a little bit eventually.
Yeah. Speaking of teams that should be better, Kansas goes to Arizona State. They're getting 2.5 as well. Is this their get right game?
Boy, it's hard.
Or is it the last start for Daniels?
You just got to be in a complete. I wouldn't want to be offensive coordinator Grimes because I know what I think I would do. Go to
Kinko's? Get that marble paper that you put your resume on?
I've seen enough.
Kids, ask your folks. The Kinko's resume joke was a lot funnier back in the day.
I've seen enough evidence of Daniels this version this year to say we can run the football on anybody. I mean, Devin Neal has run for over 100 yards every game anyway, even when they've been trying to play fancy football. I'd lean more on the run. And, then maybe work in Daniels. And if you start to see that he's figuring things out a little bit and not throwing ball the other team half the time, then maybe you got something. But I'd be a little more basic, and I think they might be 4-1 if they'd done that from the start.
Yeah, it's been a tough go for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Danny, great to have you back from New England.
Yeah,
the chowder.
Yeah,
and the water.
Phones in the water.
Phones in the water.
Welcome home, Danny. Welcome home.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Joe Spiker and his team are the best in the business for all your roofing needs, handled with honesty and craftsmanship. Visit them at eastonroofing.com.